Mm-hmm. Hello. Welcome to this Revs on Retreat video. It is the second full week of Lent, and we are reflecting on our Lenten journeys and invite you to reflect right along with us. I'm Linda Snadza-Taggart. This is Margaret Scott, and we're very happy to be with you.
We've noticed in our own lives that life kind of gets in the way sometimes of practices in the spiritual life. No big revelation there, right? But in Lent, we've always used to have some emphasis on practices daily and on giving things up and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But we've also noticed, not only in our own personal lives, but even in the resources that we've been using from various people, that there is a trend this year that is different.
Mm-hmm.
It is a trend that doesn't give you precise instructions for a practice every day, giving up chocolate for Lent, but tells us really that this Lent not only can be different, but has to be different somehow.
Yeah, and I think that has to do with, what's happening in the world right now on a communal level, all the way down to what's happening in a lot of our own personal lives. We were just talking about how many people we know who are struggling with all kinds of things, with illness and with difficult recovery and with,
Family members dying.
Yes, that's right. All of that. And so those things make us impatient with a Lenten practice that doesn't address where we actually are, and instead requires of us a way of being that is out of sync with what's happening in our lives.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and so for example, this last week or so, we've had a death in our family and my brother-in-law, and it has meant that I have been distracted in many ways to other things than my own spiritual life, although I've had to pay attention to that. But it has not allowed me to be able to focus. I have grief brain.
Yes.
And so I have been encouraged to know that that I have to find ways to be in Lent, in a Lenten journey, in some kind of fuzzy experience. Although my experiences aren't all fuzzy. For example, instead of giving up something for Lent or taking on something for Lent, which is the very sort of traditional way that I learned to do it once I became part of a traditional church. One of our resources that I use particularly is a guy called Mark Nepo, and he had a book that's been out for years called Awakening.
The Book of Awakening.
The Book of Awakening, yeah. And one day he had a discussion about, and it's a daily reading, about truth and beauty and how they're the same and how they're different. And I put down in my journal 2 columns, truth and beauty. And every time I came upon a truth, I wrote it down in that column. And every time I saw beauty, I wrote it down in that column. And that was easy enough to do with grief brain, and I could do it every day, or I could do it just when I thought of it. And I got insight from that, and I got encouragement from that, And I heard God speaking to me in that, because my list for beauty is a whole lot bit longer than the
One for
for
truth.
truth.
Yeah.
Because it's not just truth about me. There were several things on there that I had to really write down and say, I am,
Yeah.
that's truth.
Mm.
But also, evil exists. Evil is being practiced. Those are some of the things that I was, and that was just a short phrase, and it was enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a real gift you have, to express a concise practice that people can take away and try on their own. And I think that's what people are hungry for, because
we feel helpless otherwise.
yes, and it's something so something you can grab onto, and when you're feeling grief brain or whatever your circumstance is, fuzzy or cloudy or exhausted or sick or all of those things, it's those small, concise, regular practices that really, really make a difference. Yeah, and if I had to talk about how my Lent is different this year, I would say that I feel empowered this year to continue to participate in life with a capital L, even though it is Lent. And that's very countercultural to my upbringing. Lent was
about death and
sorrow and being
repentance,
quiet and thinking about
joyful.
Suffering, and that was the way that we could show our respect toward the suffering of Jesus. But in this newer way of thinking for me, I am looking at Lent as a way to both wait for and honor the life that was born in resurrection. And that is not obviated by the fact that we are not at Easter yet.
Right. And there's, because of in mine, the truth and the beauty thing is that you can't avoid the truth of what's going on in the world right now, and how suffering is
yes,
awful, and how repentance is needed. But to be able to also understand that God provides ways of looking at that through the lens of resurrection or through the lens of beauty, I think is such a gift, and is a healthier way, as somebody wrote this week, is not to let death have the last word.
That's
or
right.
Whatever.
That's right. That was also Anne Lamott.
Yeah. So we have we want to share one of Kate Bowler's readings from this week that sort of speaks to this way of looking that we have discovered. If you missed this, it's on Substack. It's Kate Bowler's on March 3rd.
That was yesterday. Yes. So the title of the piece is Someone with Skin On. And here's what she writes. After all the complaining, the lamenting, the naming of what never got put right, there is a temptation to ask, okay, but what now? Anne Lamott has a way of answering this question that is both theological and unambitious. She tells a story about a frightened little girl who can't fall asleep. Her mother keeps assuring her that Jesus is with her. Finally, the girl interrupts and says, "That's great and all, but I need someone with skin on." Which sounds exactly right. Because when things are painful or frightening or unresolved, what we usually want is not an explanation. It's presence. Someone close enough to sit beside, or answer the phone, or stay in the room without trying to bright side us or gaslight us. Anne says that when she doesn't know what to do, she lowers the bar considerably. She tries to be God with skin on. She gets thirsty people water. She picks up litter. She calls her senators. She donates to a cause that matters to her. It's not a permanent solution, but it refuses to let pain have the last word.
So hear this blessing from Kate Bowler. Blessed are you looking for the smallest possible way to love. Not because it will save the world, it probably won't, but because it keeps us human. So offer what you have: presence, water, kindness, humor. May you be someone with skin on. And her question for reflection for this week: what small, ordinary act of care feels possible for you right now? We'll see you next week.
Yes, blessings on your week, and we will be here next Wednesday.